Traffic and safety are subjects that can never be overemphasized. Tonight on the program, we shall be discussing traveling to stay alive this season. Good evening, I am Kate Harmony.
I am Obafemi Craig, welcoming you to this episode of the program. Join us after the break.
What's your uncle? That phone ain't cheap. Shebi Maryland we dey go.
Yes, care. But I pay out you go take.
That phone cost you. Ticket na 70 naira for daughter.
That number of people will not sharp. With my new Lagos Connect card, now as little as 25 naira we go pay. Lagos Connect card that the new payment method from LAMATA for people who sabi better. It's easy to use. Just waka go any BLT or BFS bus stop. Get and load your card with at least 20 naira. Tap your card on the block machine inside the bus where you enter and come out. Or party, BLT or BFS go charge you chicken money when you not go reach normal ticket money.
Wait, make I quickly go top up. Me too, I want sharp like you.
LAMATA, think transport.
This is a news update on LAMATA Half Hour. The Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, has appealed to motorists using the Mile 12 to Ikorodu Road, currently under reconstruction, to maintain lane discipline as well as observe diversion signs while using the road. The authority observed that the traffic congestion witnessed on the road was a result of the inability of road users to observe lane discipline and lack of respect for traffic diversion. In a statement, the authority said it was aware of the incessant congestions on the road and appealed to road users to display the highest sense of discipline while they are behind the wheels. The agency said it was working with the contractor with a view to reducing the travel time on the road. The kick-off meeting to signal the commencement of the construction of the bus depot and garage for the BRT extension to Ikorodu and footbridges has held in Lagos. The depot garage is expected to be built on 5 hectares of land, though only 4 of the 5 hectares is expected to be developed, and this is projected to accommodate 200 parked high-capacity buses. Speaking at the kick-off meeting, Director of Public Transport, Engineer Gbenga Dairo, stressed that the government was poised to deliver the project by the end of 2014. He urged the contractors handling the 2 projects to work to specification, saying LAMATA reserves the right to invoke appropriate clauses of the contract in case of low performance. Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, will continue to contribute to knowledge base in the country, especially in the area of developmental projects and transport initiatives implementation. LAMATA's Director of Business Systems, Mrs. Olurinu Jose, stated this when she received a delegation of the Rivers State Empowerment and Expenditure for Results, Rivers C4, on behalf of the Managing Director, Dr. Dayo Mobirela, during a fact-finding mission to the agency in Lagos. Mrs. Joseph said LAMATA would not relent in sharing its winning and success story in the last 10 years with interested agencies and establishments of government, both locally and internationally. She noted that collaboration between government agencies had become necessary in order to fast-track the level of development in the country. Chairman, Rivers State's Road Maintenance Agency, Mr. Wiyoka Chidi, who led the delegation, commended the management of LAMATA for its openness in sharing its experiences with the team, noting that ideas received from LAMATA would be channeled towards ensuring the success of his state's road projects aimed at positively impacting and improving the lives of the people. And that's the news.
During festive seasons, a lot of travelers move to several destinations. Our concern is to raise awareness about traffic management and safety issues. Our guest is a traffic management, road safety, and parking specialist. He has over 23 years postgraduate experience in the United Kingdom and Africa, particularly in Nigeria. He is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. We have as our guest today, Engineer Olajide Oduyoye, Deputy Director of Transport Safety, LAMATA. You're welcome.
Thank you.
The concept of safety is something we all know, yet we are all in breach of its observance. How will you describe the concept of transport safety practices?
Well, can I just have the same opportunity to correct that notion that we all know the concept of safety? If we all do, the problems and the challenges that we have in the country, and most especially in Lagos right now, would not be at the level at which it is. Going back to your question, the concept of safety in itself is threefold, and it borders on responsibilities. Those that have the responsibility to put things in place. The second set of people are those that have responsibility to maintain what has been put in place. And then the third are the people that need to use what has been put in place. And the reason why we have failures is because all these three tiers sometimes address it in a nonchalant behavior, carefree attitude, and without the basic understanding that every aspect of what you need to do is important in terms of how we stay alive and how we travel alive. I here give an example. If the government is supposed to put the roads in place and they don't do the engineering properly, it's a safety issue. Now, if a road has been constructed and an organization or agency is responsible for its maintenance in terms of dealing with the potholes, then there's a failure. Now, if all those two are even okay, and then the people themselves, i.e. the drivers and the pedestrians, all road users, don't have a clue how to use the road in terms of their own personal safety and the safety of others, then we have a problem. And that is how you deal with the basic principles of safety on the roads.
So in this festive season, people are involved in different activities, shopping, hampers, parties, and traveling, of course. And in the midst of the whole activities, people tend to forget the basic safety rules. Please, could you remind us of the basic safety rules?
The road is there for all of us to benefit from.
Okay.
And number one, the provider and the users. Okay. Now, if you're providing public transport interstate, the garage is responsible, the union is responsible, and also the driver. And so all these levels of responsibilities needs to be dealt with properly. Okay. As a driver going interstate, it's quite common. Don't drink before you drive. Okay. Don't take alcohol. Don't take drugs. Now, when you do take passengers from one garage and you're going outside the state, you're bound to use the express roads. Don't speed, or don't overspeed, or don't break the speed limit. The other thing that a driver needs to understand, a simple principle, is that if you're carrying 12 passengers on your bus, regard those passengers as members of your family. There's a difference in the manner and way of driving if you're by yourself or with people that you don't like, and that of your family that you love. If all drivers treat passengers like they love them, okay, there are certain things that you would not do. As a pedestrian, when you're walking, you know you're going to be walking on the streets, and you're likely to come back home late, which means it gets dark. Try and wear reflective clothes. Reflective means that vehicles can see you as you're walking on the road. I agree that there are lots of things that needs to be done in improving our walkways. However, the things that we have around could best be utilized if pedestrians take personal responsibility for themselves. Instead of backing traffic when you're walking, walk against oncoming vehicles so the lights can see you where you're walking towards. Plus, if anything untowards was coming in your direction, you have opportunity to take evasive action before it gets to you. And so if we abide by all these simple rules, do not overspeed, do not allow the festive period to allow you to drink and drive. When we have state taxis, we have all sorts of modes of transport that you can utilize apart from driving. Don't overestimate your capability of absorbing alcohol, because alcohol gives a false sense of authority and confidence.
What do you think make people to forget these safety rules?
Well, I'll start with in the sense that in any society where you have people, when there is a limited enforcement system in place, People naturally would want to do things because, like I said earlier on, they have too much confidence in what they're about to do. And those that deliberately break rules, they do it because they feel they can get away with it. And so people tend to go for things like, when we talk about speeding, speeding depends on the capacity of the vehicle you're driving. Now, if there is no FRSC there all of the time, which is near impossible to stop you, you're more likely to speed. If you've been taking too much alcohol because of the festive season, sometimes some of us, we have difficulty in saying enough is enough. We must have that ability to know what our body can take and just say, I've had one glass today of wine, of anything. Tomorrow is there, I would have another glass.
So in essence, we are saying here that safety is all about us, and we've been conscious about it. So where do we now place this myth about the embalmment that at this time it is always an accident issue, people always have, there's this myth concerning it. How realistic is this?
Well, like you said, the word myth is important. And we tend to get overexcited over any festive period. It doesn't matter what festive period it may be. But in my observation, we get overexcited about it. We chase things that are not there. We run after things that do not need to be chased after. And in the mix of overexcitement, we do things that we're not supposed to do. We forget the basic rules of looking after ourselves and wanting to stay alive. Someone would say, I have to travel out of state. And I ask the question, do you have to? Is it because it's the festive season and it's the end of that festive season, that season is not coming again? That if you get to a garage and you see the sort of drivers that are likely to travel on the highway, and you're not confident, and you're not completely happy, and your heart is beating faster than normal, something, your instinct is telling you, something is not right about this vehicle, something is not right about this driver, why don't you just change your mind and don't go, and don't make the travel? Another thing that we can do for people, especially that go on public transportation in garages, is that we must build the confidence to make our fears known to other passengers.
So what advice will you give to vehicle owners and road users who travel or who will travel at this time?
For vehicle users, we've talked about the public transport segment. I would say a lot of people will take their vehicles and they will travel out of state. I know it is also common that people will even buy new vehicles that they have not tested properly, and they need to go and show family outside the state. They need to double check that these vehicles are properly maintained and checked over, i.e. the general stuff, the tires, the water level, the oil, and the general thickening of the engine itself, so that you're not stuck halfway on the journey, because that in itself is a safety aspect. Because if you're stuck on the highway at around 6:30 to 7 p.m., you just don't know who is going to come and attack you. Plus, as you're traveling on the road, it is better safely traveling during the day as opposed to during the night. If you're a motorist, your speed is important. Don't overload your vehicle.
You see some drivers, they say, I've been driving for donkey years, so I can do any speed limit of my choice. What do you have to say to such drivers?
Well, I would say this program gives the opportunity for what you call continual knowledge. Okay. Doesn't matter how long you've been driving. Circumstances around the road can change all that within seconds. Okay. And I say to people, you are just part, one of millions on the road. Okay. You can have confidence in yourself, but ask this question. Do you have any authority on the knowledge, ability, and experience of other drivers around you? And once the answers to those three questions are no, then it means you are not in an island And what you do is only about yourself, but accidents mostly does not happen by oneself. It's always other outside factors that create accidents or incidents on the road.
Okay. It's all about placing premium on your life. It's still LAMATA half hour. We'll go on a break now, and when we return, we'll take questions from our audience. Please stay with us.
Basically, what LAMATA does is to coordinate public transportation in Lagos State, and we came up with a transport master plan.
Developed together with the World Bank, the objective of this plan is finding long-lasting solutions for the problem of transportation in Lagos. Currently under its first steps of development, the plan has already proven itself a big success, dramatically increasing the connectivity in a city in continuous expansion and enjoying an unparalleled demographic and economic growth.
Our responsibility is to ensure that we provide the necessary infrastructure to meet the growth, to improve the quality of life, to improve the standard of living, and to make Lagos a vibrant and livable city in years to come.
LAMATA, think transport.
Time now to take questions from our audience. Residents of Lagos who have experienced LAMATA's impact in transporting themselves around the metropolis. Good evening, everyone, and it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you.
Well, now to take questions, and a question from the audience. Okay.
What measures are you taking pertaining to drivers being caught being on drugs or drunk while on duty?
That particular aspect is within the purview of the Federal Road Safety Corps. A few gadgets have now been procured that would assist officers of the FRSC to stop drivers and test them on the road. But information from the garages and from passengers themselves, like I mentioned earlier on, is always useful because there's no police or policing anywhere in the world that does not require the input from the persons that are concerned.
If you take some look from my 12 to CMS, especially along Pangrove Onipan axis, the BRT lanes are in a sorry state. What are you doing to put them in order, since we are discussing about safety and the roads and safety, they go hand in hand.
Thank you for that. I can confirm that the government is certainly aware of the state of the BRT lane in some parts, like you've mentioned, around Pangrove area. And LAMATA is also aware. And so efforts are already in place to ensure that the road surface and the gradients is sorted out. The experience that we've had so far is that the road surface, it's not strong enough to take the pressure of the buses fully laden on a daily basis. And so what the government has put in place, I believe the contracts are being sorted out, is that there's got to be full pavement surfacing, which is obviously more of a stronger input that will take the pressure from the buses.
In a situation whereby I'm in a BRT bus and I find out that the driver in question is driving on a high speed, and I know as a passenger I am not safe, do I have the right as a passenger to caution the driver?
Thank you for that. The answer can be twofold. On one hand, yes, you have a right to express concern that you have on a moving vehicle. When you do it, it's a safety issue. Because if you shout, perhaps you're seated at the back, at the bus pilot, then you can distract that pilot, and the situation can even be worse than what it was. So you may have to exercise a bit of patience till he arrives at the next bus shelter, and then you find your way near the driver, not shout from behind, because you want a positive output. But yes, you have a right as a passenger to show concern for a safety method on the bus.
All right, we have come to the end of the audience question and answer session. Over to you, Kate.
Thank you so much, Craig. And just before your parting words, What do you have to say to people that won't be making any trip this season? What are the domestic safety rules they have to abide by?
Thank you. The list is extremely very long. And you start with on the home front. Perhaps during the festive season, a lot of people want to do plenty of cooking. And what do you use in cooking? Gas, kerosene, firewood. Check your gas pipes. Check out whether there's a smell that could be leaking anywhere in the kitchen. Watch out for children. Don't pour kerosene anywhere. Don't just turn on the stove anyhow, not caring about the flames. I talked about excessive alcohol consumption during the festive period. Getting drunk can bring a whole lot of safety issues to the home front. Violence, domestic violence, injuring yourself because you couldn't walk home, you couldn't see the open sewage, you couldn't see the open drainage, you can easily fall into it and damage your leg. That means hospital bills, and sadness for everybody. This is a time to also check out for teenagers the things you would not normally allow them to do because of safety issues, either going to night parties, all-night parties because they're underage, or even taking drugs or drinks. This is a time to double check. Don't allow the festive period to change your principle about your responsibility towards your children. This is a time to know that yes, it's a festive period, and there's a level of enjoyment that you can have. But as a parent, you would not allow your child to be involved in overexcitement that will bring sadness and unhappiness to the whole family. And that is what I would need to say to our viewers. That during this festive period, it's a collective responsibility for us to be safe. The government is in love with you being alive. I am in love with you being alive. I want you to be in love with being alive in the festive period of 2013.
On LAMATA Half Hour, we love the idea of you staying alive, so we urge you to stick to all the safety rules. We'd like to thank you for being a part of the program. Thank you for being a part of LAMATA Half Hour.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after the break.
Thank you for watching LAMATA Half Hour today. Drive safely, do comply with safety signs, rules and regulations, and be considerate to other road users.
To catch this and other episodes of LAMATA Half Hour, go to youtube.com/LAMATA Half Hour. And for more information, you can visit our website at lamata-ng.com. You can also drop by our Facebook page at facebook.com/LAMATA-NG. If you'd like to be a part of our studio audience, do send your details to 0703 004 0003. Or you can also add us on BBM on the numbers showing on your TV screen.
Every member of today's audience is going home with a loaded Lagos Connect card. Till next week, drive to stay alive. LAMATA.
Take transport! Eko Akete, Lagos, my home. With LAMATA, Lagos is changing for the best.